Some memories are captured in photos. Others are fired into clay. Welcome to Hands-On Happiness, Crafting Connection, our last video for this season, where we explore how pottery becomes more than just an art form. It becomes a shared experience, a story, a bond you can actually hold. The links to the books I'll be quoting, Artful Journey of Pottery and Pottery Florilege, are again in the description below. Let's start. Part 1. Why clay brings people together. There's something ancient and human about working with clay. Before it was art, it was survival. Before it was sculpture, it was a story. Pottery is one of the earliest ways humans left something behind, not just for function, but for each other. And even today, when we sit down with clay, we're doing something deeply relational, whether we realize it or not, because clay has this quiet magic. It brings people together, not with noise or perfection or presentation, but through presence, through touch, through shared effort, side by side. In Artful Journey of Pottery, especially in Chapter 1, there's a recurring truth. Pottery carries stories, not just in the finished vessel, but in the hands that shaped it and the moments shared in its making. When you create with someone, you don't need to speak much. You don't need to perform. You just let the clay lead and connection follows. Two people throwing on the same wheel. A group glazing together around a table. A child and a parent rolling out coils for a wonky little cup. You laugh, you mess up, you try again. And without even meaning to, you build memories in the mess. That's the kind of bonding that stays. It's not just about the pot. It's about the process. The eye contact, the shared silence, the accidental thumbprint someone else leaves on your bowl and you decide to leave it there on purpose. Even in a quiet moment with Pottery Florilege, you can feel this. You and a friend each take a page. You color, you chat or don't, but an hour later, you've made something side by side. You've created a moment without needing a big plan or a perfect product. That's what pottery does. It lowers the pressure and opens space for presence, for play, for connection. So, the next time you want to bond with someone, don't plan a big speech. Grab some clay or a coloring page, or just sit in the same room and create something quietly together. Because the gift isn't just what you make, it's who you become together while you're making it. Part 2. Pottery as a shared memory. We remember experiences, not because they were perfect, but because we were present. That's what makes pottery so powerful. It doesn't just give you an object, it gives you a memory attached to it. You remember how it felt to shape something beside someone else, how you laughed when the handle fell off, how quiet it got when you were both totally focused, how proud you felt, even of the wonkiest mug, because you made it together. There's a kind of bonding that only happens when your hands are moving and your guard is down. Pottery creates that moment without forcing it. You're not having a deep talk. You're not trying to entertain each other. You're just shaping, side by side. And that memory settles into the piece itself. Even the smallest objects carry it. A bowl becomes the one you made with your best friend. A little dish becomes the one your child glazed all blue. A crooked vase becomes the one you made on that rainy afternoon when you needed something to smile about. And this doesn't only happen with clay. In Pottery Florilege, the same thing unfolds. You choose a page, someone else chooses another. You color, maybe you share pencils, maybe you sit in silence, maybe you talk about everything or nothing at all. But when you look back, the memory isn't just on the page, it's in the atmosphere you created together. In the quiet joy, the shared focus, the feeling of simply being there. Those small acts, coloring, creating, shaping, become bookmarks in your life. moments you'll return to, not for their productivity, but for their presence. We often think that memories have to be big, celebrations, milestones, dramatic events, but some of the most meaningful ones are quiet, creative, and hands-on. So, the next time you want to remember something, really remember it. Don't just take a photo. Take a seat at the wheel. Pick up a coloring page. Make something with someone you care about. Because years from now, you may forget the exact shape of the bowl, but you'll remember the moment your hands were shaping it together. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your own memories, or tag someone you'd want to make a pot with. Part 3. Kitchen table creativity. We often imagine creativity as something grand. A perfect studio, natural light, the right music playing in the background, total silence, or the perfect vibe. But the truth? Some of the most meaningful creative moments happen at the kitchen table. You know the one. Still covered in crumbs, half cleared from lunch, someone's water bottle in the corner. And right there, you sit down and begin. You open a page, roll a piece of clay, start shaping with what you've got. This is kitchen table creativity. Honest, imperfect, completely alive. The Chapter 3 of An Artful Journey of Pottery explores this exact energy, not with fancy language, but in the spirit of accessibility and routine. It says, in essence, pottery is not a place you visit. It's a rhythm you return to, a practice that fits into the corners of your life, not outside of it. And that's the magic. Because when creativity meets you in your everyday space, when you make art between errands or after dinner, or in conversation, it becomes something more than a skill. It becomes a part of who you are, and it becomes a gift you can share with others. A child joins in, a partner sits nearby, you color while catching up with a friend. The kitchen table turns into a studio briefly, beautifully. Pottery Florilege lives perfectly in that space. It doesn't demand perfection. You don't need hours of free time. Just a few minutes, a few colors, a willingness to sit down and begin even in the middle of life's beautiful chaos. And that's what makes it powerful. Because when you create in everyday spaces, you're sending a quiet message. This moment matters. This space is enough. We don't have to escape our life to find joy. We can create it right here. So the next time your table is messy and your schedule is full, don't wait for the perfect conditions. Just make a little room. Pull up a chair, shape something small, and let creativity meet you where you are. Part 4. Giving, growing together. We often think of giving as something external, a gift, a gesture, a wrapped item passed from one hand to another. But in pottery and in creative connection, giving is something more intimate, more lasting. It's not just what you give, it's how you give it. It's the time, the presence, the story inside the object. Because when you make something by hand, you're not just offering a physical item. You're offering a part of yourself, your time, your energy, your quiet care. A pot becomes a memory. A bowl becomes a blessing. A coloring page becomes a pause in someone's day, a moment of joy you shared with them without needing words. And the beauty of this kind of giving? It's mutual. When you shape with someone else, when you sit together, create together, and share what you've made, you're not just making art. You're building a bond. In that shared space, you both grow. Maybe it's a grandparent coloring beside their grandchild. Maybe it's two friends reconnecting after a hard season. Maybe it's a parent and child shaping a small coil pot on a lazy Sunday. And maybe it's Pottery Florilege sitting on the table beside you, a book that becomes a doorway to connection. No pressure, no perfection, just one page, one color, one shared rhythm at a time. You don't need a kiln. You don't need to be good at art. You just need to be present. That's how giving becomes growing. Because the more you show up in small ways, the more those gestures shape your relationships. And the more you invite someone else into your creative world, the more your bond evolves, not in words, but in warmth. So, if you want to give something meaningful, start simple. Color a page together, make a mug, send someone a photo of what you made, or better yet, make something with them. Because the greatest gifts aren't polished, they're personal. And they remind us that the best kind of growth happens side by side. This marks the end of the honest season. Like, comment, and subscribe if you'd love to craft connection with someone close to you. Feel free to share your thoughts on this season. And tell me, who would you share your next clay project with? Again, the links to the 2 books I quoted are in the description below. They're beautiful, soulful reads. We'll be back very soon with a twined season of 10 episodes and new books by Mercury Sunset. So, stay tuned. Until next time, stay grounded, stay creative, and keep shaping joy. Bye.